All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to be looking at a really sharp analysis of fintech branding in Bangladesh, and we're going to tackle a massive question that the author, Sibasu, argues is facing the entire startup scene there. And it all boils down to this one pretty brutal question. Is the loyalty you think you have with your users actually genuine? Or did you just, buy it with the latest cashback offer? It's a heck of a thought. And it's right at the center of everything we're about to unpack. So let's talk about this analogy because it's really powerful. The idea here is that for years, fintech companies have basically trained a whole generation of users to expect a little treat, a little reward for doing something as simple as paying a bill. And this constant drip, drip, drip of small cashbacks has created an addiction. But here's the thing, it's not an addiction to the service, it's an addiction to the subsidy itself. And this whole addiction thing, it's created what the source calls a ticking time bomb for the entire industry. Okay, so here's the real problem, right? We're all looking at these huge numbers, millions of transactions, and we're patting ourselves on the back, calling it engagement or loyalty. But it's just an illusion, and a really fragile one at that. The second that cashback offer goes away, so does the user. That loyalty, poof, it's gone in a split second. And what this does is it creates a very specific and honestly a very challenging type of customer that's now pretty much everywhere in the market. So say hello to the mercenary user. Now, it's really important to get this straight. This isn't about users being disloyal or betraying a brand. Not at all. These users are just being perfectly rational. They're being smart. We've taught them that the main reason to use an app is the discount, so of course they're going to follow the best deal. It's just simple math for them. And wow, this chart really just lays it all out, doesn't it? The data shows it clear as day. The moment those first big promo offers run out, user retention can absolutely nosedive, sometimes by almost 50%. So you're spending all this cash to get people in the door, only to watch half of them turn right around and walk out when the free stuff stops. And this metaphor from the source is just perfect. A leaky bucket is a problem, for sure, but you can patch it. You can fix it. This is so much worse. This is like having a bucket with no bottom at all. You just keep pouring more and more money and users in the top, and they fall straight out the bottom. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, the economics of it all. In any healthy business, the amount of money a customer is worth to you over their lifetime has to be more than what it cost you to get them in the first place. Simple. But with this cashback model, you're not really acquiring customers. You're just renting them. And the moment you stop paying that rent, that 20 taka cashback, they're out of there. All right, so how do we fix this? Well, first, we've got to understand the why behind it all, the psychology. And it really boils down to two kinds of motivation. Cashback, that's purely extrinsic. It's an external reward. But brands that last, the ones that are truly sustainable, they're built on something else. They're built on intrinsic motivation. They tap into our deep down human desires for things like making life easier, feeling safe, or that feeling of being smart, of being in control of your finances. There's actually a scientific name for this whole thing, the over-justification effect. It's a fascinating concept. Basically, when you pay someone for doing something they might have done anyway, you accidentally teach them that the activity itself isn't worth much. I mean, think about it. If your service was so great, why would you have to bribe people to use it? The author lays it out with this really simple but super powerful equation. A person's total motivation to use your app is a mix of how useful it is to them, plus whatever reward you're giving them. So what happens when that reward, that extrinsic part, suddenly drops to zero? Well, the whole equation collapses, and that total motivation can fall so low that they won't even bother to open your app anymore. Okay, so that's the problem. And yeah, it sounds pretty bleak, I get it. But the good news? There's a way out. So let's look at the framework for how to actually break this addiction. The whole strategy is about shifting your focus away from just the price and onto these 4 key pillars: solving the little everyday problems that drive people crazy, making your users feel good about themselves for using your product, plugging your service into their social circles, and becoming a trusted advisor, not just a transaction machine. Let's just zoom in on that first pillar. The real enemy here isn't another fintech app, it's actual physical cash. So what are the little anxieties that come with cash? You know that feeling. Arguing with a rickshaw driver over a couple of taka, or handling those old, grimy notes. Yeah, nobody likes that. Or just getting to the end of the week and having no idea where your money went. If your app can actually solve that stuff, you've created real sticky value. You've become the hassle remover, and that's way more powerful than a discount. So that's the what. But how do you actually do it? Well, the author lays out a pretty clear, actionable plan to start pulling an organization away from its cashback dependency. Okay, here's the plan. Month 1, you get real with yourself. You do an audit, you dig into your data, and you figure out what your true retention rate is, the one that doesn't count all those mercenary users. Then, month 2, you launch a service surge. You take a chunk of that money you were spending on promos, say 20%, and you pour it directly into making the customer experience better. Fix bugs, make the app faster. Finally, month 3 is the narrative shift. You launch a new marketing campaign that's all about a real feature, like how secure you are or how fast, not just another price cut. And if you're a professional working in this space, the advice is just as direct. First, really learn your unit economics. You gotta know that LTV must be greater than CAC. Second, study behavioral psychology. Go read some Kahneman. Understand what actually makes people tick. And finally, please, just write like a human. Instead of saying seamless digital payment solutions, just say pay without the headache. It's so much better. All right, as we start to wrap things up here, let's nail down the core message and one final super important reality check. And this is maybe the most important point of all. You cannot use slick marketing or a cool brand to fix a bad product. It just doesn't work. If your app is slow, or it crashes, or it's just plain unreliable, none of these other strategies matter. Reliability is the new loyalty. Your product has to be rock solid, period. So let's do a quick fire round of the biggest takeaways here. Bribing your customers isn't loyalty. If your acquisition cost is really just a monthly rental fee, your whole model is broken. Don't just solve for price, solve for friction. Give people a feeling of control, not just another coupon. Lock them in by becoming part of their social life. And never forget, 99.9% uptime is way better marketing than a 5% cashback. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. And it's a tough one. Whether you're building a company, working at one, or just using these apps every day, if all the discounts and all the cashbacks vanished overnight, would the brands you use actually survive?